Namah Shivaya. Good morning.
शिवसमारम्भाम्
Shankaracharya Madhyamam
शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम्
Madhvacharya
Acharya
Sarvamam Vande Guru Paramparam
ॐ सहना भवतु
Bhavatu
Bhavatu
Sahano
Sahana
Bhunaktu Saha Virya
Bhavatu
Vavahai
यस्मिनावधीतमस्तु
Tejasvinavadhyamamsrivavahai
शान्ति
Om
शान्ति
Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Tat Sat, Om Namah Shivaya.
Om
Om
Namah
Tat
Shivaya.
Sat, Om Namah Shivaya.
So we had completed Anuvaka 7 in the last class, and now we have to start Anuvaka 8. So I will request Ritujit and Nirejji to please chant it. Ritujit.
Om Om Iti Brahma Om Iti Dagam Sarvam Om Iti Tadanukriti Hasmava Apyo Shravayetya Shravayante Om Iti Samani Gayanti Om Shomiti Rani Shagum Santi Om Yadvaryu Pratigaram Pratigranati Om Brahma Prasauti Om Yagnihotra Manujanati Om Brahmana Pravakshannaha Brahmopa Apnavanite Brahmaivopa Apnoti.
Thank you. Okay, so this is short Anuvaka. And as usual, first let's look at the word meanings, and then we look at the overall meanings. So, Om iti Brahman. So this Brahman, this Brahma is what you should do upasana on, do meditation on. Om iti itidam sarvam. Om iti idam sarvam. All this is Omkara alone. Etat Om iti ha smavai anukritihi api. So anukriti is accepting something, your consent, right? And many of the ashramas, when you go, you will find that if you ask for something, the acharya will, like supposing you're doing a TTC and you want to go to the washroom. So you ask, may I go to the washroom? The answer will be Om. So it's an expression of acceptance. Fine, go ahead, sort of thing. That is what he's saying. Om iti, this Omkara, hasmai vai. So these are all, words which are for emphasis. Om iti, Omkara indeed is anukritihi, is an expression of consent, expression of acceptance. And api ashrayavanti. So the Purohit tells the assistant to recite the mantras. And iti in this manner. How Om Shravaya. So when the Purohit tells the assistant Purohit to chant, he says Om Shravaya Gayanti. Om Shravaya means may you chant. May you chant the mantras. And Gayanti is sing. Samani, Sama mantras. Gayanti, Sama mantras. In this manner, the priest, the head priests, direct the assistants to sing the Sama mantras. And iti Om. After uttering Omkara, Sasan chant, the Rig Veda priest chants Santi Shastrani, the Rig mantras. And iti Om Som. After uttering the mantra Om Som, Advaryu, the Yajurveda priest, Pratigranati, he says Pratigaram. Pratigaram is the permission. How does he give Pratigaram? Iti Om, by uttering Omkara. And Brahma Prasauti, the, the priest grants permission. Here it is Brahma. Brahma is the Atharvana Veda priest. Okay, so the name for the Atharvana priest. So Brahma Prasauti, the Atharvana priest also grants permission. How? Iti Om, by uttering Omkara, Anujanati. Anujanati means the priest permits the ritual to go ahead. Agnihotram, the Agnihotram ritual, iti om, by uttering Omkara, and Pravaksyan, the one who wants to, the student desiring to learn the Vedas, Brahmanaha aha. That place, that student is called Brahmanaha, the person who is desiring to learn the Vedas. He also, what does he do? Ahaha Om iti. He utters Om with the intention of Upapanamani Brahma. Let me attain Vedic knowledge. Eva apnoti. He certainly attains Brahma. The second Brahma is Vedic knowledge. The first Brahma was the name of the priest. Okay, so very briefly I given the word meanings. Now let's look in detail. So in this section, the another upasana is being introduced. It is the Pranava upasana. It is also called the Omkara upasana, as you know. And what is the alambanam, the pratika, the symbol? Om is the pratika on which Ishvara is invoked. And he says Sarva Upasana Anga Bhutasya. Om is the Angam for all the Upasanas, which means what? Om is part of all the Upasanas. And that is why you see that in any Upasana or any karma of the karma kanda, no Upasana or karma can begin without the initial chant of Omkara. And so, and this Omkara is, it's a glorification of Omkara, this whole section. Because we know that Omkara can represent Virat. Virat is what? Samashti, Sthula, Sharira. Omkara can also represent Samashti, Sukshma Shariram, Hiranyagarbha, also called Karya Brahman. Okay. If Hiranyagarbha is Karya Brahman, who is Karana Brahman?
Antaryami.
Antaryami. Samashti, Karana Shariram. And therefore, Om can represent Virat, Hiranyagarbha, and Antaryami. That is Samashti Sthula Shariram, Samashti Sukshma Shariram, as well as Samashti Karna Shariram. All three are Samashti. Right? Therefore, Om iti Brahma. Right? Now here, it's a very fine meaning. Om iti Brahma. The word iti is saying that this Om is Brahma. Right? We are not talking about the meaning of the word Om. It's a very subtle difference. We are not talking about the meaning of the word Om. We are saying Om is a pada, a word. And what is the padartha? So don't take padartha as a substance. What is the literal meaning of the padartha? Pada artha. What does it mean? We have discussed this several times.
Yeah, so
Word meaning.
yeah, the object, it represents the
Correct. So the word artha there doesn't mean meaning. It means the object which the word is pointing to. Therefore, Om iti Brahma means Om the pada, the word, is referring to Sagunam Brahman. Right? Remember, it is never Nirguna Brahma. The Nirguna Brahma cannot be object of Upasana. And therefore, this is Saguna Brahman, Hiranyagarbha. And therefore, what? If you remember the, Kena Upanishad, Tadeva Brahma Tvam Vidhi. Remember that what you meditate upon, only that can be Brahman. Right? Because the meditator and the Brahman are the same. And therefore, here the Shruti is saying you should meditate upon Omkara. And why Omkara is taken? Om iti idam sarvam. So, Om iti idam sarvam, it says. Om iti idam sarvam. Because everything is Omkara alone. So, as we said, the Virat, Hiranyagarbha, and Antaryami, everything is Omkara alone. Omkara means Brahman alone. And we had this story, which I'm sure you know, that Brahmaji extracted Omkara by churning all the mantras. Right? Do you remember the story? From the three Vedas, what was extracted?
Bhurбhuvah Suvah.
No, Vyaharati.
The
The
Vyaharatis, the three Vyaharatis.
Gayatri mantra was extracted. Then the Vyaratis from the Gayatri mantra. Then from the from this mantra, Vyaratis, what was extracted? Ma, and that was Om. So essentially, Om iti idagam sarvam means this Om is the very extract, the condensed form of Brahma, which is the three prapanchas. And therefore, if you're extracting Om from there, that extracted Brahma is as good as the three prapanchas. Alternatively, another meaning is that the Brahmaji used the mantras of all the Vedas to extract Om. And therefore, chanting the Omkara is as good as chanting all the three Vedas. Okay, therefore, whichever way you look at it, Om iti idam sarvam. Om is everything. Now, there's something which I want to point out. When you say, I am using Omkara as a alambanam for my upasana, I am going to invoke Brahmaji or Omkara. This Omkara, remember, the word Om, it's there, okay, in Shastra. But the Om which you write, you know, that O with a dot on top, the half circle on top, the dot on top, that's not really there in the Sanskrit alphabet. That image of Om, you know, that Om you write, that is not there in the alphabet. The image Om does not exist in the Devanagari alphabet. So it's a khichdi recipe consisting of A, U, and Ma. And therefore, you can never say that Om is a form which you can see. You can say A, U, Ma. They are all forms because they are alphabets. But the word Om doesn't exist. The image Om doesn't exist. I won't say word. The image Om doesn't exist. And therefore, Om is not a form which you can see. It is only a sound which is to be heard or uttered. Right. So Shankara says, Shabda Matra Api. This Om is only the sound. Don't imagine the Om as being some sort of a alphabet, written alphabet. And Shankara comments on Om. He says, every single word, Sarvam Shabda Swarupam, every single word, alphabet and word, Omkarena Vyaptam. Sarvam Shabda Swarupam Omkarena Vyaptam. Every single word, every single alphabet that you can think of is pervaded by Omkara. Why is that so? Because you have to look at the logic. Any padartha in this creation, right? Let us say, for example, this glass. The glass is the object, a padartha. What is the representation of that glass when I talk about it? What is the representation of the glass when I talk about it? The word glass. So any padartha is represented by the corresponding shabda, the word. Right? And therefore, you have to understand very clearly, any padartha in this srishti, in this creation, can be represented by the corresponding shabda, the word. And Shastra says that every word, every shabda is pervaded by Omkara. So, if you extract the essence of any word, of any shabda, or for that matter, for any word also, or all the words together also, what will you get?
The entire creation,
No,
or
I'm
because
saying
that
the first
includes the
sentence was every word is pervaded by Omkara. Omkara is the essence. When you
Mhm.
extract the essence of anything, you will get only Omkara.
So all the words also finally give Omkara.
Yes.
Om.
Finally, when you extract the whole, any word you take, or you take all the words together also, the final extract, the essence, is only Omkara. It is like that tang, you know. You have a drink called tang. Have you ever heard of it?
Yes.
Yes.
What is
The
it the essence of?
orange juice or
Mm.
Orange.
whatever.
Therefore, having taken a lot of oranges, extracted the tang, right? It comes to in a little bottle with powder form. When you want orange juice, you have to only expand that. You expand it by putting it in the water. Similarly, so this Omkara, you have extracted from all the words. Now, let's go back to the tang example. Can you say that when you put tang in the water, the tang becomes the karanam for the orange juice? You can, right? Because you have taken that 1 spoon of tang and put it in the water and mixed it and you've got orange juice. So tang is the karanam for the orange juice. On the other hand, what was tang? Tang was the essence extracted from the orange. Therefore, in the same, using the same idea, Omkara, which is extracted from all the words, is the essence of all the words. And therefore, Omkara is the Karanam for all the words. Is that clear?
Yes.
The
Yes.
essence is always the Karanam for the totality. And therefore, all words. See, Omkara is the extract of all the words, essence of all the words. Therefore, any word can be represented by. And also, at a bigger level, at a samashti level, all the words in the universe can be represented by Omkara. Now, if you use all the words in the universe, what do the corresponding objects represent? Remember, I'm saying you are using all the words in the universe. What does this is a set of all words, okay, a box of all words. What is the, when you say the corresponding objects of all the words I'm taking, what is it representing?
The universe.
The
The universe.
universe. What is the universe? Ishvara alone.
Mm.
Okay, this is the logic. And therefore, when you meditate upon Omkara, you are meditating upon all the words in the universe, which means you are meditating upon all the objects in the universe, which means you are meditating upon the universe, and the universe is nothing but Ishvara. Therefore, meditation upon Omkara is meditation upon Ishvara. I hope it's clear. Right? Any doubts?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you take any particular word, one word, it can represent only one object. So I take glass, it represents the glass. I take table, it represents a table. Similarly, any word in Shastra reveals only one object. So Shiva reveals Lord Shiva. Krishna reveals of Lord Krishna. But by the same logic, saying that the word glass cannot reveal the table, we can say that no individual Shastram word can reveal Brahman because Brahman is the totality, right? And when you say Brahman, you say Sarvam Brahman. Everything is Brahman alone. And therefore, what will you call that Lord, right? You are taking one name to represent one object. But that Hiranyagarbha Lord Brahmaji he represents all the objects of the universe because the body of the universe is the body of Hiranyagarbha. And therefore, you can't use any one word which is already in existence. Therefore, you have to have one word which represents all the objects in creation. And that word is Omkara. Because Omkara does not represent any particular object. So we saw in Mandukya Upanishad, A represents Stula Prapancha, U represents Sukshma Prapancha, Ma represents Karana Prapancha. This totality of these three is the entire universe. Therefore, Om represents the totality of all the prapanchas, all the three prapanchas. Another name for this totality is Ishvara. Okay. That's why Om iti idam sarva. This Om is everything. Whichever way you look at it, the word Om is not just a word. It represents the whole universe, which is represented by Ishvara. That is why you can meditate upon Om. And that's why it's so important in our culture. Now, the rest of it, we're starting the stuti, the glorification of Om. So, Omkara is present not only in Upanishads, right? There's a whole Upanishad about Om, Madhurya. But Omkara is very important also in Karma Kanda, in both portions, in the Karma portion as well as the Upasana portions. And that's how, so he says here, Om iti etat anukritihi. Anukritihi means acceptance. So when you ask for something, the Acharya says Om, which means you can do it. So it is equivalent to the English okay. Somebody comes and says, can I do this? And you say, okay. Right? So instead of that, you can say Om. It's the same thing. Om iti anukritihi. And the reason behind this is that in Karma Kanda, when a command is given by a priest, the compliance is indicated by the word Om. When you ask for permission, the person giving you permission says Om. Okay, Om here means okay, go ahead. And the Ha, Sma, Va. So Va is short for Y. So Ha, Sma, Y. These are what we call in English participles. These are words which have no particular meaning. They just mean that this is well known. So sometimes we use the word indeed. This indeed. It's for emphasis. So Ha, Sma, and Y is for emphasis. Okay. So this is the first one. First meaning of, first reason why Om is so important, that it is there in both the Vedas, in Karma as well as the Upasana part, as well as in the Jnana part also. So it is very prominent. That's one part of the glorification. Then they talk about the usage of the Omkara in rituals. So when the Adhvaryu, the priest, the main priest, is about to give the offerings, the first thing that is done is you have to invoke the respective devata, right? So there will be a group of priests. The main one, the Adhvaryu, will be the person offering the oblations. But before that, the devatas have to be invoked by some of the other priests. One of them will be a designated priest for invoking the devatas. So the instruction, see, this is all literally karma kanda which you will never come across again. Okay, so it's there in this Upanishad. A lot of this there in Chandogya also. So there's these few weeks, few months that we are doing is karma kanda specific. So when the Adhvaryu thinks that the auspicious time has come, not thinks, he knows because of the astrological timings. So he tells the designated priest to begin inviting the devatas. It's a particular, when he says that, he doesn't say, okay, you can go ahead and do it. He uses a mantra called a Praisha mantra. Okay, the instruction to the designated priest to invite the devatas is given by a Praisha mantra. And the instruction is given by using the words Om Shravaya. Om Shravaya. That is the instruction. Om Shravaya. Means you please go ahead and do the invocation. But if you see the mantra, it's expressed as O. O Shravaya. The O actually is Om. So, but it is expressed when the actual mantra is chanted. O Shravaya. So he is telling the designated priest, O Shravaya, please go ahead and invoke Devatas. So O is not an address, okay? It is short for Om. Om Shravaya. So O Shravaya. And then the mantra says Ashravayanti. Ashravayanti. In this manner, the Advaryu, he instructs the other priest. And Om iti samani gayanti. So each priest, as you know, has to handle a particular Veda. So in a big yajna, there are different priests for handling different parts of the Veda. All the Vedas, three Vedas are represented. And Yajurveda mantras are for oblation or for offering the oblations. And the priest who chants the Rig Veda is called a Hota. Hota, right? And he has got a lot of helper priests who will help him. And the entire group, the Hota plus his assistants, they are called the Hota Ganaha. Right? The Yajurveda priest is called what?
Advaryu.
Advari. So the Yajurveda priest and all his assistants together form another group. So there are various groups. One is the Rig Veda priest and assistants. So he is the Hota, and he together with his group is Hota Ganaha. Similarly, Yajurveda priest is Advaryu, and he and his group are Advaryu Ganaha. The Sama group head chief priest is called Udgatha, and he together with his assistants are called Udgata Ganaha. What about the Atharvana priest? He is called Brahma. But as we have seen several times before, the Atharva Veda, does not have any direct application in Vedic rituals. Right? The mantras are used from the other three Vedas. Therefore, the Atharvana Veda priest becomes the supervisor for the whole ritual. He also has, he's not discriminated against. He also has a group of priests, assistants, normally three. Okay. So since he's called Brahma, he and his group are called the Brahma Gana. What is his job? His job is to see that the other three ganas, means the other three groups, are doing their job properly, are chanting properly. Why? Because it is Karma Kanda. Karma Kanda rituals asking for something. That is Sakama ritual. And therefore, any mistake in a Sakama ritual makes the ritual invalid. Right? But mistakes will happen because you cannot say that no mistake has to happen. And therefore, for every mistake, Veda has envisaged that people will make mistakes. And for every mistake, there is a designated prayaschitta in every karma in the Veda. Right? For example, pranayama has also got prayaschitta phalam. And therefore, there is a chap who is chanting mantras from Rig Veda. There is a chap who is chanting mantras from Yajurveda. There is a chap who is chanting mantras from Samaveda. Any one of them can make a mistake. And therefore, the corresponding prayaschitta karma has to be known by the priest who is belonging to Atharva Veda. Therefore, the Brahma has to be a Chaturveda, knowing each and every Veda. Otherwise, there is no question of knowing the Prayaschitta karma. There is no question of correcting. Therefore, the Atharvana Vedi has necessarily to be a Chaturvedi. Of course, in today's world, Ekavedi itself is difficult to find. Forget about Chaturvedi. Anyway, and all the four groups, they consistently and constantly use the Omkara. And so he says, Tatha Om iti samani gayanti samagaha. In the same way, the Samaveda priest, they chant the Sama mantras to glorify the Devatas. And then the Devata comes. When you invite them, they will come. And therefore, that part of your ritual is successful. Then Om Shom iti Shastrani Samsanti. Om Shom iti Shastrani Samsanti. Now, you have to know that Hotha, the Rigveda priest, has got another name. Shasastra Shamsitaraha. Shastra Shamsitaraha. That's a new name, which you have not seen before. The Hota is called Shastra Shamsitaraha. Again, Shastram is not a weapon. Right? I think we discussed this in yesterday's class. What is Shastram?
Mantra without this, chanted without swara.
Is the Rig mantra chanted without a sara. Right? Sometimes the Hota priest, the Rigveda priest, is required to chant the Rig mantra without the swaras. The Swara Rahita Rig mantra is called Shastra. Right? That's what it means over here. So the person who chants without the swaras, not because he doesn't know, but because the ritual requires that. Right? Okay. So and whenever they commence these mantras, they chant with Om Shom Iti. Okay. What is the next one?
Acharya,
Om
why?
Beg your pardon?
Why after Om Shom?
That's what the Rigveda mantra says. We can't question why. Okay. Okay. Then Om iti Advaryuhu Pratigaram Pratigranati. That's the next. Tatha Om iti Advaryuhu Pratigaram Pratigranati. Tatha. What is Tatha? After the Shastra mantra has been chanted. Tatha. Thereafter. Advaryu. The Advaryu will Pratigranati. He will express his appreciation of the fact that the other priests have done their job well. And this is called Pratigaram. So this also he'll not say, oh, very good job, guys. He's not going to say that, right? Because that's not the tradition. The tradition is that there is a mantra which is meant for expressing appreciation. Right? So this mantra is called Pratigara mantra. And therefore, Pratigaram Pratigragnati means Tatha, after the Shastra mantra has been chanted without any faults, perfectly, Omiti, the Advaryu will say Omiti, and say the mantra which expresses the appreciations. Pratigaram Pratigranati. He will chant the mantra expressing his appreciation of the job done by the others. Everything is mantra, everything is Veda. You don't use one extra syllable while traditionally doing the ritual. Then Om iti Brahma Prasauti. So the Atharvana Veda priest, who is Brahma, who is supervisor, right? So while doing the supervision, what does he do? He has to give instructions to the other priests also. All instructions start with Om iti. So Om iti Brahma Prasauti. The Atharva Veda priest, he says Om iti. And Om iti Agnihotram Anujanati. When a priest is employed or directed to do the Agnihotram ritual, right? Now, Agnihotram is a Nitya Karma for a Grahastha and should normally, in the case of a puja, be done by the Yajamana. By the Grahastha is the Yajamana. So it is his Nitya Karma, so he should be doing it. But sometimes, for whatever reasons, the priest who is employed, he is appointed as the agent of the Yajamana. And he is told that you have to do the Nitya Karma for the Yajamana. And in such a case, remember that even though he has been appointed to do the Agnihotra, before starting the Agnihotra, he has to seek permission from the Yajamana. And when he does so, Om iti eva. Yajamana says, Om iti. This is the Anukritihi. Go ahead. Okay. Then Om iti Brahmanaha Pravakshyanaha Brahma Apmanoti. Okay. Brahmanaha Pravakshyanaha. The Brahmanaha, the student who wants to desire, who has a desire to learn the Vedas, Om iti. He starts the project by Om iti Pravaksha, by saying Om iti. And Brahma Upapnavan iti. Brahma Upapnavan iti. This is the thought. This is the thought behind saying Brahma Om iti. What is Brahma Upapnavan iti? Let me memorize Brahma. So Brahma here is the Veda. So Brahma wo papnoti. Let me upapna. Let me be a person who is able to memorize the Veda. Okay. So that is one meaning. Let me memorize the Veda is one meaning of Brahmopapnavaniti. But in Shankara's commentary, he says that there could be another possible context. And what is that? A Vedantic student who is wanting to come to Shravanam Mananam and Nidhyasanam, he also will say the same thing. Brahmopapnality. Why? Because here Brahman is Nirguna Brahman. Let me attain Brahman. So basically it means, the word means Brahma Upapnavan iti. Means let me get Brahman, let me attain Brahman. In the case of Vedic chanting, it means let me get proficiency in chanting the Veda. In case of the student who's coming to Shravanam and Mananam, it means let me understand Nirguna Brahman. And therefore, Brahmanaha Pravakshyanaha, with intention to reach that Brahman, to attain that Brahman, he also starts with Om Iti. So the meaning is, may you practice the Omkara Upasana. The short meaning of all this discussion is, may you, as a Vaidika, practice the Omkara Upasana. Now, somebody asked me in one of the TTCs, I think, how long should Om be? The discussion came up because somebody said, he went on and on, he wouldn't stop until his breath ran out. So then I told him, it's not necessary to do that. So one of the other students said, is there a, what do you call, time frame, designated number of matras? Those who are in chanting will know, right? The chanting is counted in matras. So in the beginning of chanting, of the mantra, if it's a mantra that you're chanting, beginning with Om, Om can be in two places in a mantra, right? It can be in the beginning and it can be the end. Anybody knows what is the number of matras?
I think in the beginning it's 3 matra kala, and after the mantra it's 4 matra.
Correct. So in the beginning it is three matras, and at the end of the mantra it is 4 mantras, matra kala it's called. Okay, the time for the mantras. Okay, so that's only by the way. Also another thing, normally Omkara Japa is prescribed for sannyasis. Pure Omkara Japa is prescribed for sannyasis. And when you go to a Guruji as a grahastha for getting Omkara Diksha, he will give you Omkara with some Saguna Ishvara Nama along with it. Why?
Omkara is extreme vairagyam. It is supposed to generate, and a grihastha needs to have some amount of. He has to do his duties, and he has to live in the normal this thing.
So Omkara Japa for a sannyasi is pure Omkara because he has to have total vairagyam. And what is vairagyam required for? For jnana. On the other hand, for the grahastha, Shastra doesn't say that he should leave the house because you are a grahastha. If you also are not there, who's going to feed the other three, right? Other three ashramas. And therefore, grahastha can take Omkara Diksha, but he is given the whole thing is diluted by using a nama. So Om Namah Shivaya, Namo Narayana. So it generates sufficient vairagyam to keep you on the Shravanam Mananam path, but not sufficient vairagyam for you to turn your back on the house. Okay. Any questions?
Sir. Oh, sorry. Please go ahead, Rituji. Please go ahead.
So, Acharyaji, in this last line, the Om Miti Brahmana. So, this is the student of Purva Veda. Or
Purva Veda saying, may I learn to chant properly.
So then, if we consider this as the student of Purva Veda, the other meaning of being able to understand Nirguna Brahman, would that be? I just wanted to know because I was thinking, are we as students also Brahmana?
Yes, of course. Brahmana basically means a person who is, wanting to learn the Veda in this context. And Brahmana in other contexts means the person who understood that he is done. Okay. So in both, in Fatsi, remember what is the purpose of this chanting? It is to take you towards Chitta Shuddhi only, right? Therefore, initially it is okay to say that I want to learn to chant. But the chanting should give you Chitta Shuddhi. It should be part of Karma Yoga. When Chitta Shuddhi is given, it goes to Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga, you have to have a little bit more dispassion. You understand. And therefore, either meaning is possible. See, in the context of a Gurukulam, where only Veda Parayanam is being studied, then the meaning is, let me learn to chant the Veda. But in today's world, we don't have pure Gurukulam, right? We have learned to chant at the same time we do Upanishads also. So both meanings have to be understood.
Thanks.
Okay, Rituji, go ahead with the next one.
Myself, Vinita, sir. I just wanted to ask you, where does the symbol then come from?
The symbol is a khichdi.
Okay, but it's not there anywhere in our scriptures.
No, it's not. And in the verbal form, and when written thing came, something had to represent hope, right? When the written script came. But it's not a real alphabet. Though it's nowadays you see it in the alphabet, but it's not real alphabet.
Right. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, Rituji, please go ahead. Next one.
Om Ritancha Swadhyaya Pravachane Cha नित्यं च स्वाध्याय प्रवचने च तपश्च स्वाध्याय प्रवचने च दमश्च स्वाध्याय प्रवचने च शमश्च स्वाध्याय प्रवचने च अग्नयश्च स्वाध्याय प्रवचने च अग्निहोत्रं च स्वाध्याय प्रवचने च अतिथयश्च स्वाध्याय प्रवचने च मानुषं च स्वाध्याय प्रवचने च प्रजा च स्वाध्याय प्रवचने च प्रजनश्च स्वाध्याय प्रवचने च प्रजातिश्च स्वाध्याय प्रवचने च सत्यमिति सत्यवचाराधितरः तप इति तपो नित्यः पौरुषेष्टिः स्वाध्याय प्रवचने एवेति न को मौगल्यः तद्धि तपस्तद्धि तपः.
Thank you. Very beautiful. So, we're talking about various duties. Now, in the Vedas, you must have already seen, while doing Chandogya also, now we are doing here also, there are so many upasanas. And further, these are the Vedic Shrauta upasanas given in the Vedas. Then there are upasanas given in the Puranas, the upasanas given in the Bhagavatam, the upasanas given in Smritis, right? In today's world, almost nobody practices the Vedic upasanas. Right? Therefore, if you are not practicing, if we are not practicing, we need not feel any guilt about it. Instead of that, if upasana you should do, but what upasanas? You can confine yourself to the um, Ishtadevata upasanas. So, and for that, what do? You have very many, texts where we chant. Like, say, for example, Vishnu Sahasranam. In the beginning, there is a Dhyana sloka. So, Dhyana sloka is not just a description of the Lord. It is meant for practicing the upasana, right? So, today, we basically confine ourselves, most of us who do upasanas, they confine themselves to Ishtadevata upasanas, either here or in the Purana or the Bhagavatam. So many are there. Then why are we talking about all this? Because we should at least have some overall idea of the Vedic upasanas. What are they? We are all Vedic students, right? Vedikas. And Upanishads talk about in Jnana Kanda, Upanishads talk about the importance of karma for Chitta Shuddhi, importance of upasana as it for Chitta Shuddhi. So upasana is basically, you know, focused predominantly a manasika karma. So it's a saguna, brahma, vishaya, manasika karma. It is also a karma. The definition itself you can see. Saguna, brahma, vishaya, manasika karma. A mental activity focused on the object of saguna brahma. Saguna, brahma, vishaya, manasika karma. Right? Therefore, karma you can do without upasana. It's a very clear difference. Karma can be done without upasana, but upasana cannot exist without the karma. Therefore, in the name of upasana, one should not neglect our karma yoga. A very important point. A lot of students sometimes ask me, we have come to Vedanta. What is the importance of karma yoga? So here I am saying either in the name of jnana yoga or in the name of upasana yoga, you should not neglect your karma yoga. And we have seen that karma yoga has been classified into, three. We can classify into three basic classes. One is para, upakara karmani. Para upakara means that which benefits others. So para upakara karmani, karmas benefiting other people. Then the second category is para udasina karmani. The one which is beneficial to me, but indifferent to others. Udas. So no benefit to others. There are karmas which are beneficial to me, but not to others. And the third one is para apakara karmani, that which harms others. Right. Now, there's a categorization within this para apakara karma. Those are actions which are not avoidable, which harm others. Right? Can you give an example?
Breathing.
Sorry?
Breathing. When we breathe, even the micro.
Yeah. When you breathe, when you walk on the road, when you kill a mosquito. Okay. So these are all
The
actions.
sunas.
Suna karma, they're called. And for all suna karma, there is prayashchita karma prescribed. Okay. Now here, this Upanishad highlights the importance of some of these values. So he says, Rhythm cha swadhyaya pravachane cha. So rhythm. Rhythm has a very specific meaning here. The normal meaning of rhythm is what? Anybody? Sorry?
Satyam, truth,
particular tune.
Truth, yeah. The normal meaning of rhythm can be taken as truth. Okay. But here,
Harmony.
the specific meaning is yatha shastram, yatha kartavya. Proper understanding of the instructions as given by the scriptures. Right. Remember that if there is no scripture in our life, then your life is your naturally inclined life, which is artha kama pradhana. And therefore, rhythm is necessary. The proper understanding, yatha shastra, yatha or proper understanding of the scriptural instructions regarding actions is necessary. That is the first one. Then swadhyaya. Swadhyaya first means study of Dharma Shastra. So swadhyaya has two meanings. Adhyayanam, learning to chant the Veda. So there is no grasping of the meaning here. There is only Shabda Grahanam, just the words. So that is one meaning, Adhyayanam. The other one is Pravachanam. Pravachanam means Adhyapanam va Brahma Yajna. Having learnt from the Guru, you can teach others to chant. So Adhyanam, learning to chant the Veda from a Guru. Pravachanam, teaching others to chant. This is one meaning. So having learned from the Guru, you have to communicate it to others. That is what Arvind is doing in our group, right? So he is doing both Swadhyaya and Pravachana. Now, Veda says, therefore, that there is a segment of society who is enjoined upon to study and propagate the Veda. This is called Dharma Brahmanaha. Okay, that's one. So that's one meaning of Pravachana. Having learned to chant, to propagate by teaching others. The second meaning of Pravachanam, Shankara says, is ritualistic Brahma Yajna. To do Brahma Yajna as a ritual, as a karma. And this karma is what? For thanking all the Shastrams as well as the persons who are teaching the Shastrams. So Rig Veda Tarpayami, Yajurveda Tarpayami, right? All this has been done. Now everybody doesn't know how to chant the Veda. Veda Parayanam is not very common. It requires a lot of effort. What is the shortcut? Veda says chant Gayatri Mantra. That's a shortcut. Similarly, everybody in life doesn't know how to chant Bhagavad Gita fully. There's a shortcut there also. Sarvadharman Parityajya is a shortcut. Similarly, Vishnu Sahasranamam, everybody doesn't chant fully. What is the shortcut?
Rameti.
Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame.
Rameti.
Sri Rama 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 is the shortcut. Okay. So these are all things which are part of your Vedic chanting, Vedic learning. Things like Sri Rudram, Purusha Suktam, all this should be learned by a Vaidika and chanted regularly. So there is a difference in Swadhyaya and Pravachanam. Okay. Pravachanam is teaching, but there is another meaning also. Swadhyaya is learning to chant. Pravachanam is after having learned the chanting, you chant regularly. The practice is called Pravachanam. So he says you must do that. Then Satyam cha Swadhyaya Pravachane. So here Satyam has two meanings. One is the normally accepted one, speaking the truth. Okay. And the other means after rhythm, after understanding the instructions of the Shastra. Satyam means implementing those instructions. That is, to live your life in accordance with with the teaching. Okay, we have just few minutes more. We'll just come to the next one. So, Satyam cha Swadhyaya Pravachane. Having studied the Veda, how to chant, having understood the instructions, now I live my life in accordance with the instructions. That is called Satya. Then Tapascha Swadhyaya Pravachane. Tapaha is conscious, willing undertaking of hardship to establish mastery over my own organs. Right? And how to know whether you are in control of your organs? Once in a while, say no. I will not do, or I will not follow what you say, what you want to the mind, and see what happens to the mind. If the mind says, okay, fine, done, then your mind is in control. If the mind suddenly says, oh, how can you say that? I need what I want just now, just now, just now, just now. Then it means that you need to watch your mind and take some steps to control the mind. Remember that tapaha has to be your own discipline. It cannot be suppression. Right? Suppression will never be discipline. Suppression is oppression. And therefore, tapaha cannot be forced upon you by your teacher or even by your shastra. You should have enough understanding of what is good for you to say no of your own free will. And that is why the most popular tapaha is what? Upavasa and Maunam, two of our strongest instincts. If your tongue is mastered, Upavasa is the tasting tongue, Maunam is the talking tongue. If the tongue is mastered, almost all the organs can be easily mastered. Okay, with this we have to stop for today. We will take it up from here next time. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Om Tat Sat. Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you for your
Namaste.
patience.
Sat.
Om
Thank
Om.
you so
Thank you,
much.
Acharya ji.